We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
This is Cheapseat Reviews.
Hello, and thank you for listening to Cheapseat Reviews, the podcast that explores the Hollywood film industry for the greater good.
The greater good.
This is episode 194. Good gracious.
That sounds old.
And tonight we are talking about The Last Jedi. That's right, the newest installation of the Star Wars anthology, and quite frankly, the most divisive film we've seen in a long time. We'll get to that in just a minute. But I am Sean Allred, and joining me tonight is Andrew. Force Time gets way better reception than Skype Jimison.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, Force Time instead of FaceTime. Got it? Okay.
Gotcha.
Cool. Corny, I bet porgs taste like chicken. Logan?
Burn this mother down, I will.
And see, for those of you who, of course, listen to the show more than once, usually I try to make a funny food reference for Corny. It was either that or the milk reference with the thing, but I couldn't make that sound funny without it being incredibly gross, so I just...
Nipples I have. Milk me if you can.
Yeah. But it came out like green, and it was in his beard, and and he just drank it, like we don't even do that with cows. Ugh.
Force pasteurized it.
You said the Force pasteurized it, you said?
Yeah.
No. Okay. And Sam always licks white substances on the ground vector.
Why would you not?
I don't know. Why would you just go?
I don't know. I've got some white powder here, Opie, that I need you to try.
Yeah. Yeah.
That cop trope where you just stick your finger in and go.
Yeah. Oh, that's cocaine. Yep. Like that. Why would that soldier just decide to lick the ground? Oh, it's salt. Why do we need to know
moment.
that?
Even I, in that moment, I was like, "What?
What really? Doing? No one does that."
They
And that dude's like, his buddy's like, "Wait, did you just lick some blood?" No, man, I thought it was salt.
Right?
Nah, you thought it was blood.
Like, it's just weird. The whole thing is weird. I don't know. Anyway, that's whatever. So let's pull up a comfy chair and dive into this. This is the Star Wars: The Last Jedi, and I'm super excited to talk to you about this movie. No, I am.
Look how unexcited you are.
No,
I am there.
I am still, of course, fighting a cold. So if I cough a lot or you hear me disappear in the middle of a sentence, it's because I've hopefully gotten to the cough button fast enough. So I'll first off and say welcome back, Corny. We missed you for the month of December. But hey, you're a busy dude. We get it. So we're glad to have you back. This is 2018. Holy shite, we're already in 2018. And I am...
I definitely thought I'd be dead by now.
I should be. I'm actually kind of upset that death's not doing its job.
Oh. It needs to step up its game, huh?
You lazy mother.
Right? I'm actually...
Snowfall in Burlington.
Wait, what?
Snowfall in Burlington.
There's there's snow. It's like there's snow in Charleston, which is southeast of us, and they've got like 7 inches of snow. But here it's just cold. There I am. But
mad it make me.
Like there's got to be a joke about Clemson can't even get snow or something like that. There's got to be a joke in there.
Poor Clemson.
No, whatever. It's fine.
For
I don't. I'm not bitter. I actually am not. Anyway, so yeah, this movie, yes. Andrew, if you will please tell us what is Star Wars: The Last Jedi, in case you haven't seen a TV or a commercial or been on Facebook or IMDb in the last
Or
year.
Taco Bell, or Burger King,
Right.
or getting a Happy Meal, or the shelves at Walmart, or billboards, or commercials on TV, or
All right. Well,
Sean's back.
All of those things. Sean's back. Ew.
well, while you were sleeping, we took trimmers and
Yeah,
did a little sketch in your hair.
Dude. What's this
A
getting
little
weird?
creepy, but,
I saw it more as art. Stan was trying to
Yeah.
revenge thing, but
I was trying not to make it look like a penis, but it was hard not to.
well, I mean,
Hard.
My Lord.
all right. The Last Jedi. I apologize if you hear my stomach gurgling. I'm going to hold the microphone as close as I can to my gut.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's going to sound like
All
a
right.
Murloc.
Right? I was just thinking that. Oh, that's actually like a turkey call.
All right. So, month of Star Wars, Rey develops her newly discovered abilities with the guidance of Luke Skywalker, who is unsettled by the strength of her powers. Meanwhile, the Resistance prepares for battle with the First Order. And there you are.
Okay.
Okay.
You ended that like almost as if it was a question.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
For a very long time.
Yeah.
yes.
Thanks, Andrew. All right. So where do we start with this? Because so here's an interesting thing that doesn't usually happen. So usually when you get movies like this, these kind of fandom niche kind of movies, usually you go to like Rotten Tomatoes and the critics don't like it. It's like 50%, 60% on that, but the fans love it, right? Like Justice League is like that. Like Justice League, the critics are like 60%, but the fans are like 80%. Woo! Things like that. This movie is opposite. It's critics are like, yeah, 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, and fans are like 51%.
It's only because it's Star Wars.
I'm sorry, I literally coughed when you said that. It's because of what?
Star Wars fans are crazy.
That is
Notoriously.
correct. That is very correct. The fan obviously stands for fanatic, and
Yep.
Star Wars fans are that. They are fanatics.
And I'm sure we'll get into it in this episode in terms of some of the complaints that fans have that I just think might be a little unwarranted. But we'll talk about that.
Well, yeah, and I'm going to too. And
No, you're not. Hush.
okay, that's fair, I guess. I don't know. Boy, this 2018 Sam is a little bit more sassy than normal. It's just
Yeah, sorry. I'm tired. Registration day was today, so it was wild at the college. So
yeah, you're grumpy and hangry and all. I get it.
I'm hangry, grumpy. Dog won't stop barking. My wife has bronchitis, and my kid keeps getting me up during the night, screaming that she's having nightmares.
Oh, that sucks.
Well, I mean, it would help if I didn't beat on her windows and
Stand outside her bedroom
dress
with
up in big black cloaks and run through the room.
You're
But,
doing the
I wouldn't be a father if if you didn't do fatherly things like that.
Okay. Anyway. I know you're joking, but like I see Facebook photos of like people that put on scary masks to scare their kids. I hate that. I really do. I don't know why. Like,
I know.
let's
Kids.
I know, right? Like, you're gonna probably as an adult screw your kid up enough. Like, we don't need to have this. Like, this is probably why so many people are scared of clowns, is because they did a dumb clown thing when they were 5 and scared them, and now they're scared of clowns.
Yeah. I don't know. Clowns are just creepy anyway.
I mean, they are. It's weird. I don't know.
Something
Whatever.
about not quite being a mascot, but yet seeing the person's eyes.
Sure.
It's just,
Well, it's like the painted smile on their face, and it's like
Not quite a mascot, not quite a man. Is that a book or something?
That does sound like a book.
There you go.
actually.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I don't know why it just made me think about this, but like in South Carolina, you can't cover your face with a mask if you're under the age of 18. It's illegal.
What?
Yeah, seriously. It's
If
an
you're
actual.
under the age of 18?
Yeah, so
Oh
like
shit! Oh shit! Spider-Man in trouble then.
Well, I mean, yeah, actually, he's fine because he's still like in high school.
So, like at Halloween, kids can't dress up as Iron Man.
Kids can, as long as you're under 18, you're fine.
Oh, you said okay.
Yeah,
it's the opposite.
So
you said under 18. I was like, damn,
yeah, you can't. Oh yeah, I did say that. You can if you're under the age of 18. You can't if you're older than 18. I said it wrong. You're right. So, like, the exception are literally mascots, the university mascots. They have the exception. That's it.
Well, question: how do you become a superhero in South Carolina?
Why? Okay, I'm going to answer your question with a question. What in South Carolina is worth saving?
There's some good eating places.
Charleston.
Charleston has really, really good seafood.
So I have long said this as a North Carolinian. Anyone who's listening to this show is from South Carolina. I'm sorry, I am, but as a North Carolinian born and raised, we're kind of taught to hate South Carolina. And
on the playground where you spent most of your days.
I did. That was actually a question on HQ Trivia tonight. Was what city was Will Smith from?
I thought you were going to say what's worth saving in South Carolina.
No. Anyway, we need to get away from that. I'm afraid I'm going to piss more people off than we already are with this show tonight because I'm pretty sure that some people are going to disagree with me, and I don't really care.
Because you're wrong.
You don't know. You and I might. I think actually you and I are going to agree on a lot of things. Honestly.
Yeah, I think so too.
So we'll kind of stick to
best pals tonight, Sean.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be great. It's actually I think it's going to be you and I versus. I don't know. I haven't spoken to Corny about this movie at all, or Andrew. So I have no idea where your heads are at when it comes to this movie. So let's find out, shall we? Andrew, what is your initial impression, thoughts, as we always do at this part of the episode, after we've bantered for useless 15 minutes.
Okay. I went and saw this movie twice. Saw it once by myself because, let's face it, I had to make sure that it was okay for my kids to see. So I had to go see it ahead of time. Yeah.
Makes sense.
So within the span of 12 hours.
Oh, gosh. Really?
15 hours. I saw it twice. Yeah. So I went at like 10 at night, and then I went at like 8 the next morning. So, but anyway, it was a good experience, especially the first time because I was in the theater almost by myself. There was like one other person in there. And
wow, that's actually impressive.
Yeah. For that time of, it was 10 p.m., but still, it's not that late. So I went in with high expectations because I really, really liked The Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we'll talk about that later. It's up there on my list of Star Wars films. So I went in with really high expectations. I came out I don't want to say I was disappointed. Maybe a little with some aspects, but I just came out, no pun intended, lukewarm to this.
I think that was pun intended.
It didn't go over some things that I wanted it to go over. I felt like it wasted some characters. And I've talked to several people that disagree with me on those things, but there were some really nice moments when Yoda shows up out of the middle of nowhere. I got a little.
And the real Yoda.
Actual.
Yeah.
And not only actual puppet Yoda, Frank Oz voiced puppet Yoda.
Oh yeah. And even my kids, when I took them the following morning, that was the moment where they were like, "It's Yoda, it's Yoda!" Like they got really excited, and I was like, "I know." And so there were things that I really enjoyed, and then there were things that I kind of wish they would have done a different way. But I think that the reason I feel that way is because of all the fan theories that I read, which maybe I shouldn't have done. That kind of got my hopes up for some things. Maybe. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I feel like there's a few wasted scenes I feel like that kind of drug on. The casino stuff, I felt like that was not really needed. or, I mean, it was needed, sort of, but it could have been done a different way. And there were, I don't know. I just feel like there were some things that shouldn't have been in the movie that were, and some things that I wish would have been explored that weren't. Let's put it that way.
Okay. You said something and it triggered a thought, and I was going to say before Corny was going to go, and now I've lost it. Damn. Oh, expectations. That's what it was. It was the fan theory. That's one of my theories of why people didn't like it, is because the outcome was not one of the fan theories.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what pissed people off, because no one had the theory. This is a spoiler. Oh, I should have said this before. This is a spoiler episode. You know, guys, we're gonna spoil the hell out of this thing. I think people, because they wanted Rey's parentage to be part of the tree, right? Because in this universe, in this galaxy of Star Wars, you are either a Palpatine or a Skywalker, and that's it. There's no one else. There's no one else in the universe that matters. You're either a Palpatine or a Skywalker. And because she isn't part of that branch, that tree, I think that's what made people pissed. Now, do we agree that Kylo Ren, what he said, and we believe in what he said is true? I don't know. But he said it in the movie, so.
Yeah.
Okay, Corny.
Checked I was. Down I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I'm never sure if this thing is working. So, because of theories and other stuff like that, I read nothing about this movie prior to seeing it. I avoided everything
smart.
that I possibly could. I didn't look up shite. All I knew is that Luke Skywalker was in it. That's only because I saw previews. And even then, I was hesitant to watch previews because I didn't want, So I went in completely without expectation. And I will say, probably like a lot of people, I actually will say disappointed. And maybe that's my first initial reaction, because I expected more. Because it's Star Wars, and I expected explosions and death or stormtrooper death. And we got all that, but what we got this time around was a rather bleak outcome for the Resistance, and I think better story overall. So, and like Andrew, I had to go see it first before I could tell my son could see it. It's getting a lot easier because he's getting older. So it's like, I'm pretty sure it's fine. So, but on the second viewing, it was much better. And I've read from other people that the second viewing made it much better. And I don't know why that is. And I guess something we can talk about. But for the most part, this I thoroughly enjoyed this installment. And I really just, I again, on second viewing, things were so much better. And, I caught some things that I didn't the first time, which is great. And I want to leave this last thought. Since Yoda called down lightning and destroyed a tree, that's a dark side power.
Oh, hey, yeah.
And I thought, I guess if you're balanced, then you would actually use both light and dark. But I mean, you can't just call lightning and it'd be okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know what to say. It's strong enough for a Jedi, but pH balanced for a...
pH balanced.
Nice.
Well, I mean, Yoda, it's in the canon, if it's in the movie. So, right, Attack of the Clones, he's able to absorb the Force lightning from Dooku and then throw it back at him. So, I mean, we've only seen Sith people use Force lightning as a weapon. We've not seen a Jedi, but the fact that Yoda was able to kind of manipulate nature from beyond the grave, I don't particularly think that's a Sith power. I just think it just shows how super badass he was, that he's He's dead for 30 years and still can summon Force stuff. So
that thing. So I was like the only person that I've talked to after that was like, how did they do that with the Jedi? I was like, yeah. Certain Jedi with the same power could literally just be like, I'm not dead anymore, and then come back. Literally.
Yeah. See
so
Darth Maul.
They can, literally can just go, no, I'm not dead anymore. I'm coming back. And with that being said, when he showed up, I was like, huh, I guess that's true.
Yeah. Well, he was still dead, but he could still do stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Ish.
Yeah.
Maybe he just has really good timing.
Yeah, maybe it was just a coincidence. He just looked up and closed his eyes, and lightning just happened to strike the tree that Luke was going to set fire.
Yeah.
Nah, he set that mofo on fire. He was a little bit nuts at the end of the last movie when he died. So I think it's probably a good chance that Yoda is just off his rails.
Oh, I'm sure of it.
That is true.
Like, he was shocking people while he's dead, and he came back and he's coming to get Luke. And
He's probably been doing that for 30 years now. He's just showing up and like harassing like Obi-Wan.
Yoda's an assassin.
Yeah.
But he's crazy.
It's like how people get dementia.
Yeah. I mean, he was 900 years old. He's just, I think I'm going to set that on fire. Lightning.
He's like your racist grandpa, and you're just kind of like, oh, grandpa, stop.
Oh, Grandpa.
You just kind of say, bless his heart. He's from a different time. Anything else, Corny?
A different time was 30 years ago.
Yeah. Do I have that? I don't know.
It was a different time. Oh, God, now she's upstairs barking.
Yeah.
It was a different time.
Yeah, it was, Chad. Thanks.
Outside
Chad.
must take her.
Yeah.
Hey, I wonder if we can get Chad to like force return from the grave.
I'm sure we could. In fact, I bet you Sam could probably even Photoshop some blue glowy stuff all over him.
Some glue blowy.
Yeah, glue blowy stuff, whatever that is. It's more of that white powder you're finding on the ground.
I think you have to
Tastes like salt.
find some, breasts on the side of a cliff and milk it. I get that loose stuff.
That seal thing was just laying there like, hey, come here.
He's like, time for my daily milking.
I need some milking.
You gotta hope. Why did we both give him a male voice?
It had to be just the way he was sitting there.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was like
he probably had his hand. He had his hand in his pants.
Yeah,
before,
Bundy. What was his name?
Thanks for noticing.
Ed Bundy. I about said Ted Bundy. That's not right. Ed Bundy.
It's a whole different show.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's a different movie. Anything else you got, Corny?
And I really like the part where Luke had learned to fly his ship in that arcade game, and
the Last Starfighter,
and the aliens came down and made him a space commander.
Yeah. I want to do that movie for this show.
That was pretty impressive.
I was going to start off with that, and I forgot.
That's all right. Anytime you can get a last, whatever I just said, the Last Starfighter reference, I'm great with that. I have that on Blu-ray, by the way.
My other option was The Last Dragon, but I didn't know if anybody knew that.
No, didn't we add that to the list for a little bit?
Yeah, if you can find it, it's worth the watch.
The Last Dragon, is that a Bruce Lee story?
No.
Oh no, it's a blaxploitation.
Blaxploitation, yeah.
And
dear.
It's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's magical.
It's the worst.
It's basically like a music video with kung fu.
Oh, nice.
Right, Corny? Like it's kind of accurate.
Yeah, kind of like the main character's name is Bruce Leroy.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty awesome in that aspect. All right, cool. You got anything else?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm done.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I want to make sure everybody gets their say. Sam.
Yeah. All right. Well, sit right back, folks, and hear a tale. A tale of a young man throwing a dog out a window who keeps barking.
Who is the young man in this scenario? Because this is definitely a fairy tale.
Anymore. An old man yelling at kids to get off his yard.
Okay, I was going to say you're.
No, still a young man. What is hip?
I'm a bit like Andrew, where I went and saw it. I saw it by myself the first time, and then Chad and I went and saw it the second time, and I saw it several weeks after, and so it had a little bit of time to stew in my mind. And kind of like Corny and Andrew, I was a little disappointed in the very first time. I really could have cared less about the B story with Finn and Rose and the casino. Yeah. I wanted to get away from that because to me that felt like too much like the prequels. The look of it, I'm hearing echoes.
Yeah, what am I hearing? Is there TV on or something?
What is that? The apocalypse?
What is that?
What is what?
Are you watching something?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
That's so weird. It's literally like we're getting another like.
It's another podcast. We're popping in with another podcast.
Yeah.
You know what? Something is playing outside of my door. I apologize.
No, it's fine. I was just weird.
Yeah,
someone literally just said something about the apocalypse.
We've had some strange audio tonight. So, but anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, too much like the prequels. I thought the whole, and I hate to say it, the little political side of profiteering and especially the kind of trying to make you feel sorry for the little cat horses. I thought that was a little too much for Star Wars. And I'm gonna, I'll beat down a little bit on the movie, and it'll seem like I don't like it, but it's still Star Wars, and I love it. But there are some problems, just like every other Star Wars movie. There's certainly some problems. They desperately do too much explaining in this movie. I think it could have been cut by 30 minutes and still been a good movie. The complaints about how it didn't go anywhere, I kind of have to disagree only with the character development, especially on the A story side with Rey and what's his name?
Shirtless McGee.
Luke.
Shirtless McGee.
You mean okay, yeah, her and
that
Kylo.
side of the thing. And the captain of the ship, whatever his name was, Lou, Stu, no, the
General Hux?
Flyboy.
Oh, Poe Dameron.
Poe, yeah. I agree with, I think, Andrew that mentioned that I think Finn was wasted in this movie. Not that he was drunk, but just his character didn't do much in terms of character development. He's still the same person we knew last time. And what we have in these new sequels is, J.J. Abrams set us up perfectly with The Force Awakens in terms of giving us something we recognize and love and just tweaking it just a little bit. Because honestly, it was the same story as New Hope, right?
Yeah, it was a rehash of New Hope, yeah.
So, and that's why everybody loves that. What's his name? Cecil DeMille? What's the guy who directed this one?
Ryan Johnson.
Ryan Johnson, thank you.
Yeah, Cecil Ryan.
Ryan Gosling, gotcha.
Yeah. He kind of took our expectations and kind of turned it on its head a little bit. There's still some familiarity there, right? The Empire Strikes Back, it was certainly a dark part in the original series. This is a very dark part in this series, but yet he gave us some twists and turns. I fully did not expect Craterhead to die in this movie.
Lord Supreme Commander Snoke. Yeah.
Yeah, Snoke. Snape. Whatever his name is. I did not expect that, and that was
I know your shtick is you don't know the names of things, but like you say you're a Star Wars fan, you don't know any of these characters. You're killing me over here.
I'm tired. But anyway, I did not see that coming, and that was a wonderful little twist. I really, as much as he's annoying, I love Kylo Ren's character. He's fascinating. He's got all this power, but it's like all in the body of a moody 4-year-old. And that is scary as hell.
Especially those of us who have 4-year-olds.
Know that. Right. So, I've heard a lot of complaints about how they almost tried to make it a little too Star Trek-y
I've not
in
heard
terms
that.
of explaining too much and too much space travel and things like that. And there's some gaping holes you could put in the plot that would help you out, such as why don't they just light speed just in front of the, put a what should I call it?
Star Destroyer. Why don't they just light speed to the front?
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then wait for him to come and then blast him out of the sky that way.
Yeah, it's a little white Bronco-ish, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. It's like they're playing with them. But I think with J.J. Abrams coming to finish up this trilogy and do Episode 9, I do not think his little mystery box items are completely shelved. I think Rey's parents will still count. I think Kylo was lying to her. And there's a possibility that Professor Snape is not dead, that the snake did not inject him with poison and kill him.
You've crossed over into a different movie. Hold on, we got to reel you back. So we're on Star Wars, not Harry Potter.
Okay. Yeah. I still think he might not be dead.
There's precedent for that.
What's that?
There's precedent. Again, Darth Maul was cut in half and then is still alive. Or sort of.
And to address, another complaint in the room, maybe not by one of us, but how new Force, what would you call them? Talents, new Force
abilities.
Abilities. Thank you.
Yeah.
They were introducing new Force stuff every single movie, in the original trilogy.
Yeah.
So. I have no problem whatsoever. In fact, I think it makes it even better that they can do Skype across the universe and, lightning from dead people. And what else happened in this?
I'm okay with Force projecting Luke himself. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because they talked about it and there's a repercussion of it.
Yeah, there was a cost.
There's a reason why you can't do it all the time.
To me, that was the best part of the movie.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. When I saw Kylo Ren pull back his foot and you could see the red soil, and then you saw Luke kind of shuffle a little bit and there was nothing there, I was like, ooh.
Yeah,
they're doing this.
Something's going
on here.
Yeah. I was going to say, for me, I didn't notice that per se, but because of just reading Star Wars like comics, kind of some stories, that I knew Jedi could essentially do that. And I thought, it's very special of him to have trimmed up everything to go and fight.
Right.
And I thought, why would he do that? There would be no point in that. And then, of course, a thing that actually really tripped me or alerted me to the fact that that is indeed a projection was after the barrage, which was awesome, by the way. He just walks out and dusts off his shoulder, and I was like, all right, Jedi can deflect lasers, but they can't deflect that.
Yeah.
I was like, he wasn't there.
Corny, that was a very Dragon Ball Z moment, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
And all they needed was cartoon lines coming off of Kylo Ren as he's staring, waiting for the dust to clear, and then he walks out and
that was such a Vegeta move.
It was.
Just a bitch.
Yeah. And it's funny because my moment in that was when my first moment of what is going on is when he shows up in the back door of the base. He just shows up. And I'm like, he didn't have a transport. Did he pull his X-Wing out of the water again and then just shake it off and then fly to a planet he didn't know where they were? And then on the way, he had R2 give him a haircut. And so then the question is, why did he give himself a haircut and a beard trim? And the explanation that I've seen is that was what he looked like the last time Ben saw him. Yeah. And so he wanted to make sure that he was recognized to Ben as Luke. Because if he comes in as this old weird hermit, he might not recognize him. It also does one thing, I'll say this, and maybe the Force projection can kind of because he's obviously not leaving footprints, but maybe there's still mass there enough that wouldn't Kylo sense him? Shouldn't he have sensed him?
If it's a Jedi mind trick, he literally makes him believe it's there.
Yeah. And so that's the question: is he literally Jedi mind tricking everyone there?
It looks like it, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is probably why he kills them.
Yeah.
Which is why Leia didn't know that he wasn't there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, anything else, Sam?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. There's some other things I'd like to touch on. Maybe
We can
later.
explore a lot of different things. Yeah.
So
maybe not a lot, but
Sam, that's
There's
illegal
an
in North
adult.
Carolina.
Do what?
I said that's illegal in North Carolina. You can't just touch on anything.
yeah.
Well, you can
Unless
still
you're a
run for office in
congressman.
Louisiana.
Well, unless you're a senator from Alabama.
Yeah. Say, wow.
For Alabama,
You
that's
both
right.
made the joke, just Sam said the wrong state. I love it. Okay, so here I go, right? I flippin' loved it. I did. I sent Sam a text seconds after I walked out of the theater saying I flippin' loved it. Now, unlike everyone else here, I've only seen it one time. But I didn't... All three of you said you were disappointed. I wasn't at all. I loved it. Now, again, I'm not... Again, I love Star Wars. People say, well, you're just a Trek fan. Yes, I love Trek. This is my example. This is my analogy. Trek is my children, and Star Wars are my cousins, my niece and nephews. Right? Well, I don't have a nephew. My nieces. Like, I love them, but Trek is my kids, right? So it's family, just not my kids, right? So I think that's fair. So with that being said, and
if you were watching The Good Son, and Macaulay Culkin is in one hand, and that's Star Wars, and Elijah Wood's in the other hand, hanging over a cliff, and that one is Star Trek, you would hold on to Elijah and let poor Macaulay Culkin splatter on the rocks below.
I'm confused. What's happening? What? Did you just give me the whole Green Goblin Spider-Man must choose thing?
No, have you never seen The Good Son?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay. Old 90s movie, I guess.
Okay, sorry, I have not seen it. Sorry. Anyway, so there's things that kind of bothered me in the movie, but there's a lot of stuff that didn't, and things that really pissed people off, like how all of a sudden Leia has Force powers. No, not all of a sudden. She's always had Force powers, and it's canon, right? So in Empire Strikes Back, Luke leaves, and Ghost Obi-Wan says to Yoda, he was our last hope. And Yoda says, no, there is another. Saying, if Luke dies, we have another Skywalker, another Force user who could defeat the Emperor. Putting her at the same level as Luke. Now, she goes on in a career of military and politics, and therefore does not, hone her craft. But for all we know, for the last 30 years, she's been secretly, Wikipediaing how to be a Jedi. We don't know. So
and I saw it explained as a parent who sees their child being crushed by a car and suddenly can lift the car and pull the child out.
Corny knows all about that.
It was really?
What'd you say?
I said Corny knows about that.
Sorry, what did I miss?
The adrenaline that a mother can have for their child.
Oh, dude, yeah. So my mom lifted the back of a minivan, so that's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were not necessarily in danger, but the van was in danger of being messed up, and she was really mad at us that we didn't do what she said.
It would have been. It would have been helpful. Oh,
No.
you've told me this, yeah.
Okay.
It would have been handy to have her there, Corny, the day I dropped the van on your foot.
Yeah, I think about that from time to time and realize
How lucky we are with that.
how lucky I still have a foot.
Yeah. I literally dropped a minivan on his foot, and because the way he was sitting, his foot was sideways. The sole of his New Balance shoe literally kept the weight of the van off of his foot.
You are lucky.
Right?
What a great commercial for New Balance.
No kidding.
I'd say. But there's precedent in the real world, and we knew Leia had powers.
Again, there was a consequence. There was a cost to that. She was laid up in the hospital for a couple of hours.
Days, I would think.
Well, we don't know. We don't have a concept of time here. Everything.
Parsecs.
Yeah, that's one thing that kind of annoyed me is and again, I don't watch Game of Thrones, but I've been told that Game of Thrones kind of got real bad with this in the last season, where it's people are traveling
absolutely
great distances in short speed. Yeah, so it seemed weird that they were able to go across to the other side of the galaxy and then get back even after having a foot chase on horse dogs and getting arrested, and then meeting Del Toro, the collector, and then getting back on, all while things are still just kind of white broncoing there. So that was a little weird. The casino scene didn't bother me at all. I actually liked it because it had a point, and I don't think people get the point. And I'm not saying you guys didn't like it because you don't get it. I'm not saying that. I don't want to pull like a Interstellar. Well, if you don't get it, you didn't like it because you didn't get it. No, I'm not saying that. What I feel like, I'm using my emotion words. What I feel like is that the point of the casino scene was, one, to get us off the spaceship, because there's only 3 storylines, right? You've got the Rey storyline, the Finn storyline, and then the Poe storyline. And we needed to get off the spaceship, so we went to this colorful planet. And we've never explored really anything other than the military when it comes to the universe in Star Wars, right? Like, they go to a planet and everything's shit, right? Like, everywhere they go, it's just awful. And here's this luxurious casino, and it kind of actually answered a question of, where do the rebels, do they have engineers building X-Wings? No, they have to buy them. There are people that are warmongers that make weapons, and they sell them to both the First Order and the rebels, because, like, they always seem to have ships and things. Like, where did you get them?
But I also think that's part of your Star Trek base. That's
maybe
putting that thought. You know, I don't need to. I don't care where they get them from. It's just they have them.
Yeah, and it's supposed to add just another layer of nuance to the galaxy, that there are other bad people in the world, in the galaxy, that aren't just shooting lasers at the good guys.
Mm-hmm. There's little munchkin people that stick quarters into robots.
Right. But the other point of that was to spread the rebellion, right? It's to spread hope to these kids. I mean, you saw the very end scene is this little force-wielding kid sweeping in the barn, and I think that the next movie is going to be a passage of time. Now,
I've heard that too.
Yeah,
they're going to have to with Princess Leia, even though they had about 3 chances to kill her off in this movie.
Yeah, and people said that this had like the Lord of the Rings ending kind of thing, like they didn't know how to end it with her, but.
Which it was, it was a little touching though.
I'm sorry, and I know we've already kind of past this moment, but as soon as they fired that, I guess torpedo or whatever missile,
mm-hmm.
and it hits the bridge,
and
everyone gets pulled out, and I was like, oh, I audibly gasped, and I was just like, oh no, they killed her. They didn't kill my Leia,
right?
Because I totally figured, I was like, that's how they did it. That's how they're gonna. Or, that's how she's going.
But here's the thing: and
then she kept coming back.
Well, they had wrapped production after the movie was in the can when she died.
Yeah,
it had been already done. They were just doing post-production stuff. So every scene of her is her. There is no, we're gonna do a Rogue One bit, right? Like, it's all her.
Right. Yeah,
and so that's really great. So. And also, JJ, in the original script he started working on, she was in the last movie a lot. She's featured heavily. So the fact that since Carrie Fisher's died, a lot of people are thinking, again, total rumors. So if it doesn't happen, expectations are going to get dashed again. That the third movie is going to open with like her funeral or something. Like, you need to have a story for why Senator General Organa is no longer around, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And give her some dignity with it, like she went out saving other people or something like that, whether she is killed by the First Order or she just died because she was old. I don't know. Anyway, that's beside the point. Other stuff but anyway, so the casino part didn't bother me. It was a little too long, but you needed some more Finn. I know people also got mad that they basically called it the Boba Fett conundrum when you bring in Phasma and then have her go out like a dork. But then Boba Fett did the same thing. So, I mean, is that just a Star Wars thing where you
at the same time, Boba Fett actually didn't die from the Sarlacc pit.
Well, we don't.
He crawled out, right?
He got out.
Well, we don't know that. because the stories written about that aren't canon.
Wait, I thought that one was kept as canon.
None of the books in the Star Wars universe were kept canon after Disney bought it.
Oh, damn it.
The only things that are canon are the Clone Wars series and the new Star Wars Rebels show. So we don't know. Now, if they make a movie of him doing stuff afterwards, great. But as of now, he's still there, as far as we know. Dying slowly for 1,000 years.
Digesting for 1,000 years.
Yeah. Which, wouldn't he just die of starvation long before that? I mean, like, what does it matter?
Maybe he eats the monster.
Oh, well, I guess you got to do what you got to do to survive. But like the same thing happened to Jango Fett, right? Here's Jango Fett, he's got a jetpack and a ding, and in the movie we were introduced to him, he gets his head chopped off like a bitch by Sam Jackson. So when people are getting mad at Phasma, it's like, this is not new to Star Wars, guys. Like, you know that, right? Like, and of course the argument's like, well, why can't all stormtroopers have her cool armor that actually deflects lasers? Which is kind of fun.
It makes sense. Maybe it's a special metal.
Probably too expensive.
It's kind of like all the French officers got the special hats.
Right.
Adamantium.
Yeah, there you go. Or vibranium or something. And I actually don't think she's dead, honestly. I think she's going to come back. Because they didn't. She just fell down a big gaping. Okay. Going to light speed into the ship was the coolest single moment of the film.
Yeah.
Like, because they go silence. It was so cool. Now, my only problem is that Laura Dern, what took you so long to come up with that decision? Did you have to watch 7 or 8 of your little ship things die?
Well, this is poking holes at this movie. Why didn't they pile on one of the smaller ships, including maybe some fuel, and then have the big ship do that if they knew it was going to dismantle or disable that ship?
Well, the whole point was because they were masking. They're basically cloaked from their sensors, and then Del Toro showed them how to shoot them. So that was weird. But like, why does Finn's little ship, the little piece of shit thing that he was flying, have light speed, but those transports don't? Mm-hmm. Like, I know the nearest planet is whatever, but can't just go to light speed, right? Why can't we do that? I don't know. There's some of those types of things that are problems in the movie, definitely. And my other kind of problem is this movie is supposedly like hours, if not just days after the fall of Starkiller Base, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, when they were on that base, when they were on their planet, they had a lot of people and a lot of material, and like it seemed like they got real small real fast. I mean, basically the entire rebellion or resistance is now on the Millennium Falcon. I mean, there's like 14 people.
Yeah.
So, Corny, you're not kidding when you say bleak. I mean, Empire Strikes Back is a ray of sunshine compared to how this movie ends.
Ray.
No, I actually didn't mean that.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Other thing, thought he was Finn-ish.
Yeah. I liked Finn's attack. Okay, so some people didn't like this, and I was cracking up so hard I was in tears at the whole. Still holding for General Hux. We will crush your weakling rebellion and blah, blah, blah. Still holding for General Hux. Just let me know when he's...
that was funny, too. I didn't see a problem with it. Yeah. Some people said that it was too corny or too...
for the opening...
You tell those people to kiss my black ass.
Right? I don't...
Yeah, I heard that argument, too. The thing that I heard other people talking about was that this Star Wars tried to give Star Wars fans what they've been asking for, which is something unexpected.
Right.
Yes.
But then when we got what was unexpected, we didn't like it.
Right. Oh, I gotta find that post.
And that scene was one of those scenes, that wasn't expected by me at all.
By anyone, and that's what made it great.
And I'll be honest with you, it makes sense to me at this point in time. Just like any other society, the youth get more and more cynical, and here we have, obviously a ploy to to set up an attack. Sure, I can imagine, 30, 40, 50 years of stuff going on, and you got these younger people taking over things. And I mean, it's kind of like me now with people I work with and my employees. And, I'm thinking of myself when I was 25 working with somebody. It was a little bit more business as needed, but now it's, people talking about memes in the middle of workday as if it's a thing. So I could see, this plan will totally work. I think you should come up with a better plan. No, they'll be fine. They won't know what's going on.
Could you imagine him pitching that to Leia, though? All right, General, this is what I'm going to do.
And Leia's probably like, nah, it'll work.
Yeah, it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be. Yeah. I mean, Han did it when he was like, no, we're all fine here. Everybody's fine now. Thanks. How are you? What's going on up there? Nothing. Boring conversation anyway. It's the same gag. They just stretched it. So,
and I am perfectly fine with that.
I was totally fine with it. So we need to talk about Rey for a minute because we haven't yet. So Rey was great as always. Some people are getting kind of mad that she's gotten zero training, yet she is now like the second most powerful Jedi in the universe. If not and maybe she's 1A to Kylo Ren's 1B. I mean, they seem pretty evenly matched. I mean, she was taking out those hardened, trained sentries, red-cloaked sentries.
Oh, that was such a good scene.
That was so cool scene. It was so great.
Crap, was that a good scene.
And like when she throws the lightsaber and he just turns it on and goes through the guy's face was great. I mean, it was so cool. But she took them out pretty easily. I mean, she's got some skills that are kind of, where did she get them from? Like how did...
She previously had fighter skills, but that's kind of the thing, like when she was on, I guess, Jakku?
Yeah.
I mean, she carried a little staff around with her. I think she could handle herself.
Yeah, I mean, she obviously had to growing up by herself.
Here's a defense of that as well. Luke Skywalker went from piloting a
T-16 back home, bullseying womp rats, yeah.
Yeah, to making a precise shot in a fighter plane.
Yeah, using space magic, yeah.
Using space magic.
Yeah.
But he had very, very few. I mean, none really. I mean, as much as Rey training had.
You're right.
That part didn't bother me.
Well, yeah, it wasn't a bother. It was just more of like, oh yeah, okay, she's an excellent fighter, and I guess you're right now that you said that, Sam. There's actually precedent that too. Little 8-year-old Anakin Skywalker just jumps into a fighter and blows up a giant spaceship thing on accident, but.
It's all about intuition and instinct.
Yeah. I guess the Force just makes you a better fighter.
Well, and what I'm getting from this new trilogy, too, is that the Force is active and always trying to remain balanced.
Yeah. So
if all the Jedis are dead or gone, it means that the Jedi side, the light, is going to become stronger in whoever is on that side.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So that's why Rey in The Force Awakens could outforce Kylo Ren.
Right.
It's because she was pretty much the last user of the Force on that side. And that's I mean, at least that's what in my mind I'm justifying it for. And now with Luke gone, she can go apeshit, picking up rocks everywhere.
Well,
and everything else like that. So, and fighting these people, she's just using her instinct.
And that was a complaint a lot of people had with The Force Awakens, is that she starts using Force powers that she didn't even know that she had, because how would she know she could get that guard to do stuff for her unless someone told her? And I guess the only thing I can think of is the Force just gave her an instinct. Mm-hmm. She's like, you know what?
But they also know the story of Luke Skywalker, and surely someone said, and then one time Luke walked in and then told his dude to do something.
I mean, maybe. Maybe you're right. That's one thing that I can. Here's a star. Hang on just a second, Sam. Just think about it. Put a pin in it. This is one thing that's always kind of bothered me with Star Wars, and as far as the way time works, is like maybe because there isn't a social network in this universe where people are always connected, in that at the beginning of Star Wars: A New Hope, right? I know it was the first one, 1977, and George Lucas maybe he didn't envision the prequels, but like they're like making fun of Darth Vader and his ancient religion. Okay, there were Jedi less than 20 years ago, right? Like this is Luke is 17 years old. He was born when the Jedi Temple was still a thing, right? So every man in that room that's laughing at Vader would have been a young officer during the time of the galactic or the Republic, right, with Jedi. So that's always been kind of weird. And now they're talking about this thing that happened. Now Rey, I get her not knowing. She's on Jakku. I mean, she's hanging out with Simon Pegg, giving her little bread caplets and things. So she's probably not aware. But Finn's a soldier. Like, I just found it interesting that he only knew of Han. He knew him as the war hero, and she knew him as the smuggler. I thought that was kind of funny. But anyway, that's always been kind of a weird thing. What were you going to say, Sam? I interrupted you for.
I was going to say probably the most, in my mind, the controversial part in terms of making me question the movie was the very end with the stable boy using the Force to pull a broom towards him. Mm-hmm. And I've been trying to figure out what they're trying to do. And of course...
We're live.
You all right, Corny?
My computer's wigging out here, so I'm sorry.
What the heck was that?
Autoplay.
But anyway, the only thing I can think of is, number one, they're setting up that there's going to be more Force users in the third movie. Mm-hmm. But also, I think it's that idea that now that Luke is gone, there needs to be more of the light side of the Force to balance. And the Force, I think they're going back on Lucas's midichlorian thing and basically saying that the Force can choose whoever it wants to choose.
Well,
it chose
the Force.
Chose.
See, because I've taken from the new one that the Force is everywhere. It's just that certain people can tap into it and some people can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep. Right. And that's been established for 7 movies now. And what was established in the first movies, 1, 2, and 3, is that when you are born into the world, if you are in a civilized area, once you get that midichlorian count, they're like, oh, this child could be a Jedi. Mom and Dad, you want him to be a Jedi? Yep, okay, bye, kid, and you never see him again, right? The kid then goes to become a Jedi and never knows his parents. So, since that system no longer is in place, there's probably thousands of Force users in the galaxy that they don't have a system to go to help them. So, so there's this little slave kid who now has a really cool Rebel Alliance ring that apparently he got at the gift shop. I don't know where he got it from, but you know what I'm saying. That he is the spark. He is the next generation of Jedi, and it's going to be
next generation.
Yeah, here's my Star Trek reference. And there's going to be, I think that's why I said the next movie is going to be a passage of time. 10 years has passed, or 5 years since the Battle of blah blah blah, and General Organa has passed away because of this. Like, there's going to be a passage of time because we need that kid to be a fighting age in order for the payoff.
Yep.
Right? So, back to your point, Sam, about explaining too much. Like, they go to Salt Plains planet, right? And they got the big door, and then they drop those huge hulking ATTs there, AT-AT walkers, which were really cool looking. And then they drop the big gun. You don't need to tell me, oh, it's miniaturized Death Star tech. You don't need to tell me that. I can tell that's a big damn gun. Aim it at the door and blow it up. You don't need to tell me that. So to your point, they got a little. That was a little Star Trek-y. You're right.
Yep.
And they did that a little bit in The Force Awakens. What's going on? Oh, they go through the compressor and the thing happened and they get all mucked up and then I bypassed it. Like they got a little too Star Trek-y. I mean, that's me saying that. In my Star Wars, but I get JJ had just come off of doing 2 Trek films, so maybe he hadn't kind of washed his hands of Star Wars or Star Trek yet.
Do you feel like maybe JJ and this Ryan Johnson guy didn't really communicate as much as maybe wanted, or I mean,
and isn't that the big main question though?
Because I feel like a lot of the stuff that JJ set up in Force Awakens, it didn't, even without hearing the fan theories, it didn't go where I thought it would go.
Well, to that to your point, I don't know the answer. Here's what I think, or here's not what I think. Okay, travel with me on this, and I don't think this is a leap. Marvel, we've gotten used to Marvel, right? Kevin Feige and the people at Disney and his people, they probably have a book, whether it's physical or whatever. And I don't have the stupid effing book clip, sorry. There's probably a book that has the story arc. Here is where we're point A, point B, C, D, all the way to Z, right? And this is how the movies will get us there. This movie will do this, and this movie will do this. Now, things changed as things change, right? Sony's like, hey, we're going to do a Spider-Man movie. Kevin Feige goes, oh, insert Spider-Man here. Okay, oh, we're going to buy Fox now? Okay, insert Logan here. So obviously that stuff changes as time goes on, but I've always felt like there's always been a plan for the future, right? Always. And I feel like this, again, it's only a 3-movie arc, but you can tell from 4, 5, and 6 there was a plan. Here are the bad guys, and by the 6th movie, we all know the Empire is going to be destroyed, the Emperor is going to be killed, and Darth Vader will die somehow, right? We all knew that from the first opening crawl, right? So, but whereas in this movie, I don't think there is that. To your point, Andrew, is that there isn't,
or at least it doesn't feel like it, and we will not know until Episode 9.
Like, I mean, honestly, The Force Awakens, if it wasn't for the last scene, is a standalone movie. There's nothing in that movie, honestly, that you don't have to know who Rey's parents are. For all we know, I'm saying, like, there are questions that are offered, but we would be okay not having the answer. I don't care where Maz got Luke's lightsaber from. Did she crawl through the depths of the Flying Cloud City? Did Lando find it, or one of his little minion guys find it and sell it on eBay? I don't know. I don't really care personally, because we just complained about people explaining too much. I don't need that. But so to your point, I think you're right, Andrew, that I don't think JJ or any producers, because George Lucas has nothing to do with these.
Right.
And
which is good.
And the books that he wrote, well, not he wrote, but he was basing them off of, sorry, they're not using. The story arc is very different, so it'll be real interesting to see what JJ, how he takes what this movie offered and ends it with. I'm looking forward to that, but until then, and I think it's interesting. No one's mentioned yet that of the 4 of us, and people have been pissed off on the internet about Luke and how he spent the last 30 years or 10 years on an island hanging out, doing nothing.
Well, here's my response to that.
It's probably the same response I have.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, where did Luke find him?
In the desert, on a planet.
Was he hiding?
Yep.
Was he training any other Jedi?
Nope.
Where did Luke find Yoda?
Hiding on a planet. I mean,
was he training anybody?
No.
Was he doing anything?
No.
He's probably
so every mentor that Luke had went into some sort of hiding after a
defeat,
after a incident. So there's no. I have no problem with it.
It's kind of the Jedi thing to do, right?
It really is. Man, my day sucked. I'm going to go into hiding.
Right. So
that's my thing to do. Hell, I was gone for a month.
So I don't have a problem with it.
So am I right? I mean, is that what you're thinking too? It's just
I'm 100% there. And Luke, now
I don't understand that complaint.
And Mark Hamill even said, "I don't like what you did, but I'm with you, and I'm going to do the best that I can with it." And I thought Mark Hamill as an actor was great in this movie. I thought he was really good, probably the best acting he's done in years, honestly.
Yes, absolutely.
And so that part has never bothered me. It didn't bother me then. It didn't bother me until after I saw the meme where it was like a picture of Yoda hiding on Dagobah, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't." I didn't think about that, but yeah, that's what the Jedi do. They get their ass kicked, they go and hide for 20 years, and then they train somebody. So,
reluctantly, by the way.
You're right, reluctantly. Like Yoda made Luke go through this song and dance before he would, and then he needed basically Obi-Wan coming in to like basically all but smack him upside the face with the Force to make him do it. Like Yoda, like he had to be talked into doing it, right? So I mean, Obi-Wan was really the only one that was like, let's go just get trained up. Let's get the little sphere thing and give you a weapon.
I think there's more of an issue with Rey's increasingly adept sword skills than there would be Luke Skywalker hiding out on an island.
And even then, I'm with you guys. I think the Force helps her. I mean, hell, the Force helped our blind friend from Rogue One, do all that stuff. I mean,
I won with the Force.
He was so cool.
What I've heard about Luke that people have been upset about, and I can kind of see this as well, is that I heard people say that their childhood was kind of changed or let down in a way, because we left episode 6 thinking that darkness has been defeated, the evil in the universe is gone, and everything's back to, but then they find out that Luke kind of just gave up on that, or it's what it feels like. And I'm right there with you, Andrew. I read an article called Star Wars Destroyed My Childhood. Yeah, something
which is basically that same idea of everything we've ever grown up on was that Luke saved the universe and everything's fine. And you get to this movie and it's like our hero, the person that we idolized in the 80s and early 90s, is not who we think.
Yeah.
This franchise basically grew up with us and kind of turned into this cranky old guy yelling at kids to
get off his island. Yeah.
Get off my lawn.
Or get off the lawn.
Right.
And that's basically what he's doing to Rey.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, they did it with Han Solo too. He was the hero of the rebellion. Then what does he do? He goes back and becomes a smuggler. He goes back to being a bad guy, basically, until Leia.
That's just Han, though. I mean,
you can't have it both
character. Ways. He's the lovable rogue. We all expected Luke to be the superhero that saves the universe, and to learn that he can't and didn't.
But
is
I guess
disheartening.
But my counter argument is that Yoda is the most powerful Jedi to ever live. There's no argument. Mm-hmm. He is that. And if he couldn't beat Palpatine in a fight, in a duel, while they're throwing chairs at each other in the Senate, and he decides after one fight, time to go into hiding. Like, again, I don't blame Luke for leaving. Like, I mean, Yoda, that was one thing that always drove me kind of crazy in that movie. It's like Yoda gave up real easy. I mean, real easy. Mm-hmm. He's like, all right, one fight, I'm done. I lost my tiny lightsaber. Time for me to go into hiding. Like, so, whatever. Anyway, I don't even know how long we're into this episode.
We can talk for a while.
We're hour 15. Yeah, I mean, and this movie is it's. Someone mentioned this. Kylo Ren. I thought Adam Driver is great. He's an interesting character. I really like him as a villain.
Chest I've ever seen on a man.
Do what?
He has the biggest chest I've ever seen on a man.
Yeah, it was weird. Like, I wish he would have like show me your belly button. Are you human? Like, what's happening? It was kind of weirded me out. His high waist. He
probably has an Audi. Like he's
maybe he's a little sensitive about. I don't know. He gets naked on girls all the time and has sex there. So I don't know why he would be.
I know a certain music professor that wears his pants that high, and I think it's just to hide roles.
Mm.
Hey, speaking of which, I saw him last week.
What?
Sorry.
Really?
You saw who?
The person Andrew was referring to.
Oh, and you said a music professor. I had to think about it. I really thought you said mutant professor. I'm like, Professor X?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, of course he wears pants that high.
But
he doesn't know.
Yeah, he's in a wheelchair. It doesn't matter. I thought Carrie Fisher was great. Okay, here's a little bit of a beef that I have.
Filet mignon?
Actually, I could really go for a ribeye. I'm actually really hungry still. Couple things. One, okay, so the Rebel Alliance, not the Rebel Alliance, the Resistance, you know, the Republic. I mean, they're basically the Republic Army at this point. That's all they are. And that's what they are. So they have the thing where Finn goes and he attacks the ship, and then he makes the call to send these bombers to go do to kill a dreadnought, which was cool. I thought it was actually a pretty cool scene. Mm-hmm. And then Leia slaps him.
I don't care if there's no gravity in space, by the way.
I guess you probably saw my argument. I'm pretty sure they're pushed. Like, it's a mechanism that pushes them down. Anyway, it's fine. So then we go back, right? So then Leia, she's in command, and she demotes Poe, right? But like, Poe has already been established that he's special, right? His X-wing is different. He is a cool droid. Poe is special, right? He gets to talk to Leia in a way that no one else can, that we've seen in the show, right? They established that in the movie. So she slaps him, right? Because he did a thing. So he has to, you know, learn some stuff, right? That not every decision is something that you have the right to make, whatever. So then she goes into comatose, right? She has to go and recover after her spacewalk. So Laura Dern enters, and Laura Dern is like this tight-lipped asshole the whole time. He's like, just tell us what you're doing so that we know what the plan is. Like, and the fact that she's like, nope, I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to go over here and talk to Sam Neill on the phone and talk about Jurassic Park. I don't know why she has his voice. Woo-hoo. But, like, that part, really that part drove me crazy. Like, just freaking tell him what the plan is. What's the point? What's the harm? He is an officer, right? It's not like he's some lowly private pilot guy who's like,
he has the trust of Leia.
Yeah, right. Like, just tell him, well, the plan is we're going to stall until we fuel up our transports, and then we're going to make a sneak escape and then use the main ship as bait. Great. That way you don't have to have a mutiny and waste 10 minutes of our life. Oh, I actually thought you were about to slow clap, Corny. I just heard a noise. I didn't know what was happening. Anyway, that
slow clap, all right.
It's just we're still waiting for number 2. That part legitimately bothered me, and then again, it also bothered me. Like, her whole purpose of staying, someone has to stay behind. You realize your job is to stay behind, to die for the cause, right? Because that's everybody does this movies, die for the cause. But why did you have to wait until like so many of your ships had been shot? Like that it seemed to take a long time for her to realize something was up and for her to come up with that plan. And as soon as she turned the ship around, I leaned over to Sarah and was like, she's gonna light speed into that thing. And she did. It was great. It was so cool. Just do it sooner. Gosh, people.
Of course, there was the obligatory, and I was kind of miffed about it the second time. Finn and Rose on the big ship and basically getting knocked down as they were surrounded by stormtroopers, right?
Yeah, light speed to the ship Ex Machina moment.
Somehow it knocked them like 2 football fields away from them, and
we're okay, and they just got up,
Yeah.
No, you're not wrong. And Finn falls down the big thing and then comes up like in Back to the Future 2 and hits her with the thing. Like, I mean, you're not wrong. There's a lot of Ex Machina happening there, but that's kind of Star Wars too, right? Like, right? Like Han Solo Ex Machina. If it wasn't for him coming in the last second and saving the day, so Sam, you have, Corny, I can't remember if you have, and Andrew, I have no idea. Have you guys watched Firefly? The show?
No.
Ooh. Oh. I was about to say, what? Yeah, of course.
I know you have. Corny, have you seen it?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing with you.
I couldn't remember, sorry. So there's a really great episode. It's actually not a good episode. It's a good episode. It's not a great one. But there's a great moment in this one okay episode where they're being chased by a bad guy, right? And so Wash is the pilot, has this great idea. He's like, I'll lose him in this canyon. So he flies down in this canyon, and he's flying, he's doing all these great maneuvers, and then he looks up and realizes the bad guy's just over them. Right? And he goes, oh, right, he can just fly over me. And every time I'm in a Star Wars movie they go into these crazy scenarios, and it's like, why doesn't the bad guy just do that? Like, what TIE fighter pilot's thinking, I must go the exact route that they go, no matter how crazy and dangerous it is, or else, right? Like, oh, Rey's going to go fly into that downed Star Destroyer? It's a finite piece of real estate. Just pull back and wait for her to come out. Anyway, so when they go flying through the salt cavern to the planet, it's like, why did you have to chase them? They do it in every movie, and it's a cool scene, and it's great, and whatever, but it's... Anyway. And I do like the fact that Rey gets in the tail gunner, and she's shooting. She's like, this is fun, you know? I just thought that was kind of funny. Anything else? I was going to do some trivia, but, I mean, we don't have to. I can skip trivia altogether, and we can just keep talking, but we're an hour and 20 in. So
I think we need to start wrapping.
Yeah, so... yeah, I'm thinking. Oh, and then the one thing that other people have complained about is the Rey Rose relationship, and you know, was there enough on screen between the two of them that would warrant the kiss, and to her to risk her life to save him, right? And I like the moment because again, like, oh. Ray, you know, Finn's charging up his engines, and he's going to go through the big gun. I'm like, oh, are we about to lose Finn? Like, I was about to get mad.
I was actually pissed that they didn't. Like, I feel like if he had done that, his, you know, how
the arc of his character,
it would have had purpose. And I think that what I had in my mind was, okay, Han Solo. Harrison Ford said that he wished his character would have died in, you know, some of the earlier films,
right? And
wanted to sacrifice himself to be the hero. I thought, okay, that's what they're actually going to do here, and I was cool with that.
Well,
I would have liked to see that as he's flying towards this, you know, Death Star gun or whatever they call it,
right?
You know, instead of getting knocked over by Rose, I would have liked to see the engine fail.
Oh,
and just like,
right. It would have been funny. It wouldn't have had the sweet moment that they came up with. When I saw her, when the camera cuts to her hitting him, in that moment, that 1 second that your brain has to realize what's happening, I thought that she was going to bounce and then deflect into the big gun, and she was going to sacrifice herself for Finn. That she was in love with him to the point that, but no, they crashed, whatever, and those shitty things that they were flying. Who built those things? Good Lord.
But they were made in Detroit.
I mean, like,
hashtag I don't give a about Detroit.
So like, anyway, so then she's like, and she has a great line. There's a payoff there where she says, if we're gonna win this thing, it's about the people, the things that it's saving the things we love, not destroying the things we hate. And that's what Star Wars is all about. It's about love and redemption. Yep. You know, throughout the whole series, Luke is like, not throughout the whole series, but from 5 and 6, Luke's like, oh, that's my father. I'm gonna try to save him. Rey's doing the same thing with Kylo. She thinks she can feel the conflict, right? There's clearly conflict. He doesn't feel good about killing his father. He didn't want to kill Leia. But didn't really cry about it when she got blown out the window. He doesn't know that she survived. But
he didn't shoot.
But he didn't shoot, and then he kills. I thought that bit with Snoke was so cool. People were so mad that Snoke is the most powerful being in the galaxy, and he can do Skype calls across the galaxy, but he can't see that. Like, yeah, there's still limitations to the Force.
The second time I watching this thing, I noticed that he is turning the lightsaber in his hand just the same way it's turning on the seat.
So he's seeing.
And I'm like, oh, that's how he hit it. That's how he couldn't see it coming.
Right, and it's really clever. Yeah. And again, there's still he could feel his intentions, right? But he couldn't obviously see the actual outcome, which was great because again, there's limitations. Even Luke in his visions, he can only tell that his friends are in pain. Or when Anakin has vision of his mom, he could just see that she was in pain. He couldn't tell from how or why. So
I was to say it could be I actually am glad I was able to put this in here, but Scott Pilgrim, where he's fighting Todd, and he goes, "I thought real hard about putting soy in this one cup, or putting milk in this one cup,
right?
But I didn't."
Exactly. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I thought that the kiss was a little awkward because, frankly and honestly, I kind of felt like Finn and Rey were going to hook up. And maybe.
So I have a perfect explanation for that. So you're in the heat of battle, all this stuff's going on.
Oh, sure.
And of course, she thinks that something's going down, and then the kiss happens. Personally, what I would have loved to have happened, be like, "Oh, girl, hold on, wait, I don't know you like that."
And here's the funny thing. So they had John Boyega, who plays Finn, and Lucas, whatever his name is, who plays Poe.
George. Oh.
And they were like, one of them guys were like, and the interview was like, and it was the whole cast was there, but the two of them were there. And they asked them, they said, so in The Force Awakens, you guys, when you reunite and you guys are hugging each other, that's kind of a long hug. And one of the guys was like, Poe, the guy that plays Poe, is like, well, it's because my character's gay. And John was like, that's funny because I was playing it gay too. And so the actors are having like this little inside joke. So it would be really interesting and very progressive, even in Star Wars, if the two of them hooked up at the end. And I don't know if JJ has the balls to do that.
I don't think Disney is going to.
Is there room for that in Star Wars?
I don't know.
Just that type of I guess there's been marriage and stuff like that.
Right. I mean, there's obviously relationships.
I don't think Disney does that.
I don't think Disney has the balls to do it. I don't. Because, I mean, Star Trek did it in the most recent film, and people lost their shit over that, which was, I thought, really dumb. But anyway. All right. So we're an hour and a half. I'm going to cook through some trivia here real quick. There's a lot, as you can tell with a movie like this, there's going to be a lot of trivia. So I'll cook through some of the things I thought that was cool. Mark Hamill and Rian Johnson revealed at the BAFTA screening that Hamill asked to play a CG character, saying that he had done it before. In the film, he plays the character who puts money in the BB-8 unit at the casino. So that's Mark Hamill's voice grunting and making funny noises.
I was hoping for one Joker laugh. That would have been great.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That would have been pretty cool. Daisy Ridley took her dad to when they first started filming for this movie, where they wrapped up of The Force Awakens, and when her father met Mark Hamill, he asked him, "Who do you play then?" Ridley admitted that she was not sure if her father was joking.
Oh dear.
This one actually. Okay, I'm going to get a little fanboy here a little bit, but as of now, this is the only movie in the Star Wars universe to not feature the phrase, "I have a bad feeling about this." And that kind of bothers me, and I don't know why.
It kind of bothers me too.
It's literally like if when Tarantino makes this new Star Trek film, he doesn't have someone say, "Live long and prosper." Like, I mean, I know "live long and prosper" is probably more equivalent to "may the force be with you," but it's something along those lines. Or maybe if Scotty doesn't say, "Damn it, Jim," or if McCoy says, "Damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor, not a whatever." If he doesn't say that, it's the same thing. It's the same equivalent. So I just thought, I don't know why, that kind of bothered me. It was dumb. Rian Johnson said that the Porgs were a result of the Puffins being native to the Skellig Islands where Octo scenes were filmed. What? Skellig? Skellig? Okay, thank you.
Yep.
They were
there was a short video about the island going around on Facebook, and it is amazing.
Cool. They were unable to move them as they are protected species, and would have been too time-consuming and expensive to edit them out of the shots, so they just turned them into freaking porgs. So I thought that was kind of funny. I had zero problem with that. I thought it was kind of funny that they were all over the Falcon. The only thing I don't like about it, I think the joke went too far because it turns. Sam hasn't watched it. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Star Trek V. It's considered by far as the worst Star Trek film ever. But in that movie, they turn the Enterprise into a punchline because everything's broken. Everything is broken. Nothing works. And it's a punchline, and it's sad. And they kind of turned the Falcon into a punchline a little bit when, like, you know, these porgs are everywhere and, like, eating into the wires and stuff. But it didn't really bother me. It was just like, there's only one moment. But then, holy shit, Chewie can fly. Like,
oh, yeah.
He's a good pilot. I didn't realize he was such a good pilot.
Hey, Sean, I've got some good news for you.
Oh, okay.
The line that you thought was not there.
What?
It is in the movie.
Oh, it is?
BB-8 says it.
Oh, yeah, BB-8. The rest of the trivia, yeah. BB-8.
Oh, sorry.
I didn't read that part because it's stupid because it's a cop-out. But he does say, director Ryan.
Say a porg mentioned it.
Yeah, Ryan Johnson has stated in a line is said by BB-8, but since he speaks in droid language, the line was not actually heard, and no one translates it. You know, why do you have a bad feeling if you're gonna say that,
or you know, I do too, or you know,
yeah, like this is a good plan.
No.
Why would you have a bad feeling or something like that? It's dumb. It's dumb.
I count it.
It's a cop-out, in my opinion. Laura Dern.
R2 cusses all the time, though.
Well, R2 does curse a lot, which is pretty funny. This one's for you, Sam. Laura Dern plays a high-ranking rebel officer. They're not rebels. Again, they keep saying rebels. People kept calling them resistance, rebels. Like, essentially, they're the Republic Army. They're the army. Anyway. And also, this kind of annoyed me when Hux kept calling them rebel scum. Like, that's what the Empire called them. Don't call them that. Anyway, she is a rebel officer in the movie, but is probably best known as Dr. Ellie Sattler from Jurassic Park. A rippling cup of water, or tea, is shown in The Last Jedi, a direct nod to the iconic cup of water from Jurassic Park. So, I'm sure you noticed that part, Sam. That's it. Soundtrack great. It's still John Williams. The guy's 107. He can still write music. He's great. The only thing
there is something about when the scrolling script and that gigantic note hits.
It still
every
gives,
time
it's just
smile on my face.
Oh, it still gets you. The only thing that I was a little whatever about is that. So we got the original theme in Star Wars, 4, and then in Empire we got the Imperial March, and then in 6 we got a little bit different, and then even in 7 we got something else a little bit different, right? Like Phantom Menace we got Duel of Fates and then themes and variations of Duel of Fates throughout 2 and 3. In this movie, it wasn't anything new.
Yeah.
Except a John Williams version of "In the Mood" at the casino. Corny, I know you noticed that. That the casino band. You did or did not?
I did not notice, actually.
Yeah, in the casino, the band is playing a Glenn Miller version of a John Williams version of Glenn Miller's "In the Mood." Glenn Miller, right? He wrote that. Yeah. So, whatever. Cool. So, for our... I didn't play that. I'm sorry. So, I'm supposed to play... for trivia, I was supposed to play...
And now for some more bad news. Ready?
Excuse me while I whip this out.
So, that's for our top 3. And we're just going to rank Star Wars. We're just going to do our top 3 Star Wars movies. All right, I don't want to go through all 8 of them. 9 of them. Well, if you want to do top 5, I'm okay with that. Whatever. Sorry, Andrew.
Sorry, I was zoned out for just a moment. I was making sure that Glenn Miller really did it.
Yeah, it was him. I wasn't. Yeah,
I was second guessing myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Hey, I mean, you're looking at the only guy, maybe not the only guy, but one of the only guys that had to take history of jazz twice because I failed it the first time. So, that's fair.
Dude.
Yeah, I did.
Hey, did I tell you that I wrote all the papers for a buddy of mine in the history of jazz class?
Man, I should have come to you.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Todd Wright was like, hey, your insight is so good. He was like, okay, thanks.
Yeah, I think I should have just gone to Todd Wright and be like, you owe me one for that thing that you made me do. I can't go into it.
With Wycliffe?
Yeah. That was so bullshit. Anyway.
Okay. So I'm going to go... well, I'll just do top 3.
That's fine.
Okay. Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
And I guess, I don't know. I'm gonna say that Rogue One and The Force Awakens are my top two, but I really can't.
Like 2A and 2B?
Yeah, I can't really put them in a. No, I mean they're like 1 and 2. I just don't really know which one I like better.
Interesting.
Rogue One, I really like Rogue One.
I did too.
And I don't. I mean, there's not lightsabers. There's not a Jedi in there, but there's. I don't know. There's something about the movie that I just really, really like. And I was so worried about that film when I found out who was directing it. And I thought, oh, this is going to be terrible. We're just going to have another monster movie.
Right.
And
yeah, we talked about that on this show, too.
Yeah, I was terrified that it was going to be awful. But it was great. And I really enjoyed it. I honestly might put that one before Force Awakens.
Okay.
But Force Awakens would definitely be up there number 2.
Okay, cool. Corny?
All right. I think I'm going to go with my number 3 as The Force Awakens. My number 2 as Star Wars, and then New Hope, and then my number 1 is Empire Strikes Back.
Okay, right on. I'm with you. Sam?
I've got them all listed here. So I'm going to go from best to worst. Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
New Hope. Return of the Jedi. Force Awakens, which is very close to Rogue One. The Last Jedi. And, I don't even remember the 3, 1, 2. Whatever those are. 3 was the better of the first 3.
Okay.
But the second one,
Attack of the Clones.
Attack of the Clones was just horrendous.
I think Phantom Menace is the worst one. That's the Jar Jar Binks.
I don't know. I think it's number 2. Who does number 2? At least the number 3 had the interesting Obi-Wan Darth fight, but
no,
and they're all shat. I mean, basically, there's a giant gap between 8 and 3.
Oh, you mean Obi-Wan and Anakin at the end? Okay,
Anakin, yeah,
you're right.
So
I was like, no, he fights Darth Maul in 1, and then he also fights General Grievous in 3.
Yeah,
Grievous, that's a bad character.
Yeah. And basically, the 2 scenes, the Darth Maul scene, and then Anakin and Obi-Wan scenes are the only redeeming qualities in those 2 movies.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, there's other moments, but there's not a lot. I mean,
no,
they're prequels, and it's funny, and it's because we grew up on 4, 5, and 6, right? And I know I've mentioned this on this show, but I had students that I worked with at UNC Charlotte that didn't know any other version other than the re-edited George Lucas versions of 4, 5, and 6. So when I'll mention something like Han shoots first, they did she's like, I'm a diehard Star Wars fan. Like for Christmas, she would decorate her house in Star Wars gear, and she has Star Wars PJs. And for Halloween, every year they dress up she's Leia. Every year she's Leia. And when I mentioned Han shoots first, she had no idea what I was talking about. She didn't know that was an edit. She has never known a Star Wars that didn't have Jabba the Hutt in A New Hope. She has never known Nub Nub, the song at the end of Return of the Jedi. She'd never known that. She'd only known that shit version that they came out with afterwards. And when I played her the original one, she's like, oh, that's kind of silly and weird. I'm like, that's what Star Wars is. And that's why the music doesn't match what's happening on screen now. And why did they have to put Ghost Anakin for Christian Hayden? Like, Luke should literally be looking at that guy going, I don't know who you are.
Who you are, exactly.
Like, it makes no sense. So, anyway. My number 3 would be A New Hope. Number 2 is The Force Awakens. And number 1 is Empire Strikes Back. So, there you go. That's my 3. That's it. Out of 10, this is our time to do... Oh, I have a noise for that.
Wait, what's supposed to happen?
Out of 10, Andrew. Unmute yourself, sir.
We're not.
You're still muted. Still muted.
All right, how's that?
Still there.
There you go.
Well, I'm going back a ways here to just. I should have done this earlier.
You're looking at what you gave other Star Wars movies. You weren't with us when we did Force.
No, I wasn't. I was with
Rogue One.
With Rogue One.
No. Did you find it yet?
I may even bump Rogue One higher if we were to do it again now, because I don't know what I gave it, but
I'll find out real quick if you want.
I can find it anywhere. Anyway, I don't know. This to me was not the movie that I wanted. It wasn't a bad movie, but I felt like I don't know. I just felt like the communication wasn't there between Abrams and Johnson, and
that we know of now.
It could be, and they could have a master plan that we don't realize is there. But I just don't feel like.
Do I look like someone that has a plan?
I wanted more from Snoke, because if he's this, badass Sith Lord, then I kind of wanted more from him.
You gave it an 8, by the way.
I gave it an 8. Okay. I wanted more from Finn, and I didn't like Rose as far as her storyline, and I felt like Finn was kind of wasted in the movie, and Luke was a fan. I mean, like we've said, I felt like this was his best role as Luke Skywalker, and as far as the acting, it was phenomenal. But I don't know. It just didn't give me what I wanted, and maybe that's a biased opinion, but I'm not going to knock it down too far. But I'm going to say maybe a 6.9.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
For the record, that's exactly what you gave Justice League.
Yeah, I would put this up there with Justice League. I mean, I didn't enjoy that one, and I didn't hate it, and I'm kind of in the same place with this one.
Okay. It's Corny.
I give it a 2.
Okay.
Too awesome for okay.
I was like, what?
No, I'm going to give it like a 7.8. It did let me down the first time, so because of that, I'm going to knock it down some points. However, it was very, very entertaining, and I still enjoyed it. I take it back. I'm sorry, bump it up to 8.2. I changed my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, but yeah, it dropped down, but on the second viewing, it was much better, and it was just kind of one of those things where we did get a different story, and I don't necessarily know if I wanted something different, but what I got was not bad. It's just maybe, an acquired taste essentially, but it still turned out to be pretty good.
Okay, right on, Sam.
Yep. I've got to say it got better with the second viewing, and I'm wondering if it's going to get better with future viewings. And I just have a feeling that once episode 9 comes around, we're going to like this one even better. Back when
Empire Strikes Back?
Empire Strikes Back, thank you. When Empire Strikes Back came out, there was some negative reviews, and people were like, they weren't too happy with some of the turn of events in that movie.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to find out that's going to be the same with this one.
Could you imagine having to wait 3 years after that cliffhanger? Right?
Can't imagine. Oh, but anyway, I think it's going to get even better with time. So I enjoyed it now, and I'm going to give it a good 8.2 out of 10.
Ooh, that was a weird noise. All right, cool. I went back and looked at my Rogue One score. I gave Rogue One an 8.25. I like this movie a lot. Having only seen it one time, maybe if I watch it again, I'll like it less. I had a good time. The things that bothered me aren't that big of a deal because they're kind of things that are problems with other Star Wars movies. I love with open arms and hold and embrace The Force Awakens, but there's huge problems in that movie. Like, if you consume a star, your planet's going to freeze before you get to shoot the gun. So there's a lot of other little things like that, but whatever. I don't care because
physics. Who cares?
It's Star Wars. Physics doesn't matter. There's space magic. So
Space Jesus.
I'm going to give it, sorry for coughing. I'm going to give it an 8.75 because I liked it. And I know a lot of people didn't, and that's fine, and yeah, I got maybe a little too aggressive on Facebook with the post that I did about,
no, I don't think so.
Well, so people are like, it just seems like people are unfair about this movie and how much they hate it and how they think it's a legitimate bad movie. You might not like it. It's not a bad movie.
No,
it's not. You
cussed at a nun, so.
Yeah, I did do my post where I was, the next perfect formula for the next Star Trek or Star Wars movie is you have to make it the same as the original trilogy, but I also want it different. There's like 40 of those, and I posted that. So anyway, I don't know, maybe not. My point is that I loved it. I really did. I liked it a lot, and I want to go see it again, and I can't wait. That's our show. I'm going to try to wrap this up real quick because we're going real long, and so all I'll say is that I'm sorry for coughing. In that 200 episodes is a mere 6 weeks away. 6 weeks away, we're going to be doing, unless something happens that would make it miss a week, which I don't think it should. We are 6 weeks away. Actually, something might happen. I'll talk to you guys in a minute. Away from episode 200. We've already gotten a lot of, actually a pretty good amount of feedback.
Thank you, folks, for doing that.
We've gotten emails and direct messages on Facebook and a Twitter or two thing. If you want
a threatening letter in the mail,
submit a request for our 200th episode. Submit it, whatever the movie is. We're going to do a very creative, scientific way of picking one at random. And again, it can be new, old, whatever. Preferably not in the theater because then we have to. That's hard to do. But something that we can either rent or just watch online would be perfect. And we will review it. We'll pick it. And if we pick your movie, you could win a prize. You win a $25 gift card. We're crazy. We're literally giving you something for literally nothing for you to type us an email. That's how desperate we are. That's not what it is. We just want to.
No, that's pretty much it.
No, we want to give back because you guys have been awesome. Who have stuck with the show for the last 4 years. And next week, when we record, we will be celebrating our 4-year anniversary of this podcast, which is pretty cool. So, no, okay. So that's it. That's our show. Your emails, if you want to submit a request, go to cheapseatreviews@gmail.com. Like it's on Facebook, facebook.com/cheapseatreviews. You can direct message me there. We have a group now, a Facebook group. If you want to go in there, it is a spoiler-full chat room. If you're going in there looking for spoiler-free discussion, wrong place. That's what normal Facebook is for. Come in. You just have to get it, send the request, and I'll accept it. And then we'll chat and keep it civil. It's all fun. On Twitter is @CheapSeatCast. Leave us reviews, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, all that other stuff. And, of course, our GoFundMe.com/CheapSeatReviews is still up and active. Excuse me. Big thanks to, again, Alan last week for donating $25 so that we could do Justice League. That was a lot of fun. And that's it. Again, thank you for sticking with us for nearly a 2-hour-long episode. If you got a long car ride, I'm sure hopefully this made it less painful. Maybe made it worse. I don't know. I guess it depends on what your opinion of the movie is. If you made it worse or not. Next week, what are we doing next week? I'll tell you what we're doing next week. The movie we were supposed to do is no longer streaming. So the movie we're going to do is The Prestige. We are doing The Prestige.
I like The Prestige.
Just Prestige the other day, actually.
Prestigious.
Wait, what?
Just Prestige the other day.
Oh, cool.
We're back to level 1 and leveling up some guns again.
Oh, sure. Yeah, sure. I'm with you. So, Prestige next week. And that's going to do it for us. So, on behalf of Andrew, Corny, Sam, this is Sean saying thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.